Good evening, one and all. Welcome to this August 16th through 18th edition of Show Business. I come to you as always as Charles, otherwise known as SIPO. Joining me as always is Lindsay of My Two Cents of Nonsense.
Oh my God, that's me. I'm here to talk about all the spoilers for Alien Romulus. Okay, so in the third act, no follow-up.
Are you done with your shtick, sir?
I'm always sticking, bro.
And rounding out the three is Greg Grey Poupée. How are you, sir?
Hey, it's still Gray. Doing good. Glad to be here. Yeah.
I rather love the balance between Lindsay and Grey, the hype and the just reserved nature. Hello, everyone. Hello, Sean, Deadhead, Dice. Bonjour. How are you? To the weekend that were, Alien Romulus did come in first, but it's a little low as far as I'm concerned. We'll get into that. Alien Romulus with 42 million. Deadpool and Wolverine second with 30. Did you place a bet, Greg? What was that about?
I was just hoping that it was going to beat the "it ends with us" numbers, but
yeah,
sad it came a little short. Sorry,
it missed it by a whole day or so. Deadpool and Wolverine resumed second place with 30 million. It ends with us 24 million. Fourth place, Twisters, while you can watch it at home, making $10 million. And number 5 is Coraline. You know, that 15-year-old movie with 9.6 million.
It was kind of cool. The eyes will stick with you.
And Leica deserves every dub it's ever gotten, and so many dubs that it hasn't gotten yet. Like, that just makes me happy to see. Like, go Leica.
What is that a statement on? Like, I don't know how to gauge that. Like,
I mean, I think it's a statement of how good that movie is.
It's a 15-year-old movie.
Yeah.
There's something extremely strange. We'll get to Alien Romulus. For those who don't know, we're not going to spoil anything tonight. Mm-hmm. We're going to talk about stuff that doesn't really matter as far as the story is concerned. But we did a full the length of the film and then some spoiler chat where Gray graciously basically
I would argue too full. Sorry. I left out a couple parts. I thought we'd cover them today. No, I'm just kidding.
The next 2 hours is what we're going to discuss. But yeah, so if you want to hear us talk about spoilers, there's a full day's worth of content from 2 days ago, this channel as well. But we'll avoid spoilers, but we'll talk about everything around Alien Romulus, including all of the internet hubbub. But first, the fact that Coraline brought in $9.6 million on just more than 1,000 screens. Is this what theaters are going to be now? Like the 10, 15-year-old 20 movie scraping $5 to $10 million?
I don't see anything wrong with that, honestly. Like,
yeah, I mean, I don't hate it. Weird. I'm really glitching out. Okay, back to normal. I don't know what it is. My computer apparently can't handle the EV mux, but good times.
All right, so we're back to the negative.
I wouldn't hate this trend. Yeah. I don't know. I wanted to see a bunch of these classic ones in theaters. I know if it was around me, I would have totally seen that one this weekend.
So yeah, I didn't know it was out there. I would have looked for it if it was. Like, I love Coraline. That's is it a cult classic? Has it reached the part where it's not like a cult hit anymore? Like, it's like mainstream. Like, because it seems like it, but like it's also kind of like, I mean, I keep talking about Leica being amazing, but like, how often do people talk about Leica? I feel like they're like sub A24 in terms of like they've never made a bad movie, but they're not quite that well known yet. You know what I mean?
But isn't that like exclusively help me out with the artistic styling of, please, English for me?
I'll English for you in a moment. Cody's over here dunking on
motion.
Yeah, I gotta call those out. Those are really good.
Yeah, he's got some good ones. Fair enough. What can I say?
It's okay. You're beautiful.
I wanted to be a little different. Well, thank you. But yeah, man, stop motion.
Yeah, stop motion.
Kind of sepia. It's a little bit more mustardy, but I get you.
Yeah. So I don't know. They don't have as much a background, a library, so to speak, that A24 does. Like they do what? Maybe 1 or 2 a year.
Ish, yeah, and honestly, that's enough. Like, I think like Leica does like one every 4 or 5 years.
See, that's why. I mean, A24. I think they have one like every 2 months now. So
that's true.
They're moving up in this world.
Yeah, Cody, we
Cool.
if you guys know that, Cody. Yeah. So what alarms me and bothers me again, I don't mean bother. I just feel like a movie that could be on the cusp. Like this weekend, we're
Mm.
talk about the future. This weekend coming up, Strange Darling, something that I was lucky enough to see. I don't think that's going to crack the top 5, and that's unfortunate because it's a movie that isn't really this big a deal, but man, is it it's something that
Mm.
when people watch it, they're gonna be like, "Wow, why doesn't this get play?" And it's just a bummer because I'm not saying, the reason it's not gonna get play is because, I don't think that Coraline's audience would be looking for something like Strange Darling anyway, but it's just, more space at a theater that is taken up by something that is a bit of a gimmick show for 3 days.
Mm.
It probably depends on like the weekend in particular, like what's being out there. Like,
Yeah.
like, would you do this the same weekend that Deadpool and Wolverine came out, or would you put every screen you had to Deadpool and Wolverine?
If you're asking the theaters, every screen to Deadpool.
Yeah,
makes more sense. Yeah, I don't know. I think it might be a little bit more of that kind of getting a little bit more of the nostalgic audience in there. Like I don't know. I'm interested in it. It would have worked on me. I actually was not aware till I saw the shocking numbers. I wasn't expecting to see it in the top 10 there.
Yeah, that's without you. If you knew about it, it'd be 12
I know. It's my fault.
Well, it reminds me of a few years ago. It's like pre-pandemic. I think it was like 2019, 2018. Remember, I don't remember what movie it was, but it was like a really contentious, like, what's going to come in first place this weekend at the box office between you, me, and Peter CP. And then completely out of left field, Dragon Ball Super Broly comes in, and I think second place or maybe even first place. It completely abolished every box office expectation we had.
I don't remember that. I do.
was
There is
amazing.
one
You
every
don't
now and
remember
again.
Super Broly?
Oh, come on. It was great, man. So much better than the original. No,
I do know that like
let's not start
Shrek
that war.
2 cracked
That's
a
true.
couple of months ago or something. That was an odd strike. But yeah, it's just strange because there are more movies coming out today than there was 10 years ago and 10 years before that.
Mhm.
Yet still we have to like go back to things from years past. And I don't know, Coraline is something that only 15 years ago you were able to see it on the big screen. I just I tend to feel bad for the movies that are on the cusp that just like they just need that theater space to maybe catch someone's attention.
Well, I think something like Coraline, it might be a really good one for, because like I don't think it did incredible in its box office run. Like people liked it, but then it really kind of grew a following over time. So maybe this was some people's first chance to see it in theaters. So maybe that kind of juiced the numbers a little bit.
I'm not strictly targeting Coraline.
Right,
I guess what I'm saying is
no, we're only talking about one thing and one thing only. Nothing broad, big picture.
it's. I mean, I went and saw the original 1984 2 Ghostbusters when that got its re-release for the anniversary or whatever. So
sure.
I'm my own worst enemy in this case. But is it something where people who like, did you need this theatrical release to like remind people or get people to be aware of something like Coraline, or like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, here's something that people probably know, getting theater time, theater space, whereas something these little darlings, forgive the pun, are fighting for just any sort of runtime.
Yeah, I mean, they're trying all sorts of things to get people out to the theater now. Like
Popcorn
Wolverine
buckets.
the buckets galore, man. Which Romulus had some pretty nice buckets that apparently were really hard to get, interestingly enough. But I think they're trying a bunch of different things. Like you mentioned with the Fall Guy that they were kind of doing like simultaneous theater and streaming within, what was it, like 3 weeks or something.
And Twisters is that now too. Twisters made 10 million while you could rent it at home. It doesn't make sense to me.
I don't know. Maybe the theaters are trying more to get something in there. I don't know. I'm not sure who pushed the like actual release on this, but I don't know. There's a bunch of these classic ones that I wish I had seen that I kind of discovered on DVD or on streaming that, hell, I'd like to see it on the big screen.
Yeah, but it does. It says something because Coraline was on 1,500 screens. That's a per theater average of $6,294. Twisters made a per theater of 2,871. Uh, it 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 just got close to it ends with us. It ends with us per theater is 6,367.
Nice.
That's a 15-year-old movie just dollars away from competing with It Ends With Us. It doesn't make sense to me.
I mean, it's definitely probably a commentary to some extent on modern movies in a way.
I would be alarmed if I
Kinda.
made money on like shit like this.
I'm kind of wondering why they didn't do it more towards the beginning of the year where, the drive isn't that big because this is kind of, right, same weekend as the Alien movie, 2 or 3 weekends after Wolverine. Apparently we had a big It Ends With Us weekend last weekend. So I don't know. It's interesting. It seems like a weird time where it's kind of the summer blockbusters, but
Gray, you took a much more concise way to say what I was trying to say. Yes, the summer the summer real estate at the theater is pretty valuable. Is this
it seems
something
like
that
it.
yeah, is this something that would it be affected at all if it were April or October? Same
Ooh,
thing.
that's a good question. I just kind of thinking back to it. I do remember when I was a kid, like the theater near me did have kind of like a day matinee where they would actually play some of the older
Yeah.
movies, and that was awesome. But I can't think that was like a big national release. I can't think any of those ever charted anything in the box
Yeah.
office. But I don't know. It was interesting. I know those were always kind of packed, where a lot of the other matinees weren't. But
Mhm.
it's kind of an older flick that you don't get the chance to see, and you're not going to be able to see it tomorrow. It's one showing.
Right.
I don't know. To me, that would be interesting, but I don't know if society's going to change since the great stay-at-homing.
Yeah,
It's an interesting name for it. I like it.
it's awfully strange. Renato says, should independent movie theaters become more popular? I would
think
say
so.
yes, but you're
I would
asking like
love
the
that.
They're
wrong
my
person.
favorite.
Yeah.
I kind of hate going to those corporate ones. Like, granted, yes, they don't have the popcorn buckets, so if that's your thing, maybe you're not going to find that at the independent one. But man, the actual films that they get to show, like I always love going to that kind of niche theater that's a little bit more artsy here.
Right. My issue, listen, the theaters have to figure out a way to make money. Um,
For sure.
it's weird saying that. But the popcorn bucket thing, I mean, we talked about this, excuse me, earlier in the year. Are theaters going to get into the merch business? And it seems like they very much are. This just seems like, because you brought it up, Gray, they're creating these things, these hot items, but they're not making enough of them. It's because it seems to be a thing for the second market where people who really want this stuff aren't getting it at the theater and they're just being sold on eBay and shit for a markup. And
I was
don't know.
willing to buy one of the either of the Xenomorph or face hugger one, but yeah, they were all gone at mine, and I was at one of the first showings on Thursday, so I don't know where the hell they all went, but good times.
Yeah, I wanted that Alien one badly. I wanted to mount it on the wall back here, and I got to like the first showing or maybe the second showing for Romulus on Thursday and didn't have them.
Yeah, so I mean, all right, theaters. If you want big theaters, excuse me, if you want to make money off of like gimmicks, you got to do more than that because the only people that are going to benefit from this are people who resell stuff on eBay. Because I don't know, should you have maybe a cap? You have to show that you have a ticket from that movie, and you can only buy one or two. I don't know.
Maybe it's kind of the collector's thing, right? Like I know there's a bunch of people reselling them, but I mean, they're really they have resale value right now. I don't think these are going to be. It looks to me like they're the next Beanie Babies or whatever. Like there were a whole bunch of people hoarding them, a whole bunch of people collecting them, but were they really worth anything?
Yeah,
maybe I'm wrong, but I can't see any of the previous popcorn buckets being worth like anything major.
Oh yeah,
so I don't know.
I have a couple of the tin ones with the Avengers, the Star Wars one. I have like 5 buckets, but I kind of cosplay as a movie theater. Well, at least in the UK now. I have the popper. It's kind of a gimmick, and I really enjoy it, and I'm really excited yet bummed at the same time because there's like 3 or 4 buckets I would be all over right now, and the Beetlejuice ones look awesome, and I know I'm not going to have a chance to get any of those again. So it's just like, can you not make a fucking major bucket every week? Excuse me, a major set of buckets every week, because it's pissing me off, and I want to own at least one of them.
And actually, fun story. I did a little research on the Beanie Babies recently. So part of the reason that what made them so valuable was that, you know, they'd like release like this elephant as blue and it wouldn't do well. So then they change it to purple. But then suddenly you couldn't get the blue elephant anymore because it only came in purple. So the blue version of it is worth an insane amount of money. Or basically it's things like that.
The variants, right? Or
yeah,
chase,
exactly.
whatever they call it.
So like if you got like, you know, get Diamond Dozen Octopus, it probably isn't worth anything in terms of the Beanie Babies thing. But if you got like that limited run right as it came out before they made serious changes for it, that was when they were worth money.
Yeah.
So
it's just
so
shitty.
I should have the collection.
it depends on which ones you got. I'm not going to say that's not worth something. You know, it kind of depends.
It's just shitty because the people who are like benefiting from this are people who are selling it. So the theaters are selling it for $30, whatever. The fucking twice over eBay people are selling them for like $80, $100, and collectors can't get their hands on it. And true fans really have to overpay for something like that. And I don't know. Is that what this should be? Like we're gonna Ticketmaster a popcorn bucket now?
Is it the equivalent of like standing outside of a Taylor Swift concert and be like, you need tickets, popcorn bucket, a popcorn bucket? Like,
yeah,
it's a bummer.
I mean, you know the scalping business is only profitable for the guys outside the thing for the most part. Yeah, makes sense. I don't think it's the way it should be, but that's certainly where we've gone.
So to Renato's question, should we be promoting independent theaters more? And if you're in small town USA, how do you get to something like, I guess either, because 1,500, that's like, even if you wanted to go see Coraline, that's like a third of the screens in an average movie theater. So
how many screens are in the nation? Is there like a solid number on that?
If I was prepared with that question, I could have had it, but total, it's got to be a couple of thousand.
I'll see if I can Google it real quickly. Just give me a second here.
I would say screens, if you're counting like drive-ins and things like that, it might be something like 10, 15,000. But like brick and mortar places, it might be like 3,000.
Okay, so according to this, it's actually 39,000.
Wow.
I mean, that's a very quick Google, so, you know, who knows, but...
Is that worldwide or North America?
United States.
Holy shit.
Right? That's kind of nuts. I wonder how many of those are like in active use or how many of those are like specialty uses or like drive-ins, like you said. That's
crazy.
Yeah. I might have to read up more on this subject.
Yeah.
Here I am thinking,
I'm looking forward to the screen report.
Lindsay's screen report. Be on the lookout for it. See, here I am ready to think like, oh, those poor bastards in Iowa with their one theater. But I guess that's probably wrong. And Iowa should be very angry at me.
They might have a lot of screens.
That's what I'm saying. Me and my New York bullshit, not really paying respect to the small towns.
That's the problem with you New Yorkers and me LAers. We don't think about the little America. You know, it's like, because everyone's always doing like this box office stuff. We should have like the electoral college of the box office that determines like
no EC word. No.
Okay.
We're not doing politics.
Well, let's talk about Romulus, the most unpolitical movie ever. No, I'm kidding.
So, we'll segue from that. Romulus is in the 80s on Rotten Tomatoes in both critic and audience score. Yet, if you go on X, it's the worst thing in history.
That's what I keep seeing. I did this to myself. Again, my feed's very cursed. But yeah, I'm seeing how stupid this movie is, apparently. And I don't know how it's not a movie for fans. But I don't know. I just happen to disagree with it, and I'm glad that I don't always go off the Rotten Tomatoes score, but sometimes it kind of gives you a hint of kind of how people are feeling about it. And I think the 80s seems perfectly decent for this one.
Sure,
seems about right to me.
There are claims against the movie that I think aren't very fair. If you want to say one thing or another about the movie that doesn't work for you a certain reason, okay, that's fine. All art is subjective, but if you're going to say it's lazy, they're taking shortcuts.
That's fascinating.
I don't think
There's
that's
no
fair.
characterization.
Right. There are claims that I need more than the buzzword, please. I need you to explain what about this movie is lazy to you. What about this movie doesn't have characterization, right? Is too quick. And it's like, all right, so if this movie were 15 minutes longer, the pacing would be an issue. That Cody brought that up the other day. Shout out to the person who actually brought that comment up. What? Who said it before we went live? There's a 6-hour EFAP rant.
Oh, I think that was me. Yeah, I happened to watch their criticism on it. They absolutely hated it.
Really?
Every part of it was wrong, but they're not necessarily focused on like light, aesthetics, camera movement, anything like that. So it really is just kind of like plot holes or characterization. But it didn't meet their standard. So I think they said like it would be lower than a 4 for them. So
out of 10?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, for them.
No, sorry, you are wrong, sir.
They point out a bunch of plot holes and kind of what they consider plot holes, I would say. The other thing that I've seen blown up Twitter is kind of it's a picture of the alien and then a picture of the explosion from the end of the first one that like there's no way they could have found. So I guess this is like the tiniest bit of spoilers of like the first frames that's on there. But they find some wreckage from Nostromo. And apparently the explosion would have completely gotten away. Every piece of it would have like atomized it. So that's people's problems with it. I think showing the little piece of wreckage that says Nostromo is just a shorthand with the audience so that you know what the hell you're looking at while you see it on screen.
Can you do me a favor and just tell me what type of movie Alien Romulus is?
Awesome.
No. What category does it? What genre?
Kick ass? No, it's a science fiction.
Wait, what was the second word?
Science fiction.
Oh.
Fiction.
Oh,
Fiction.
So
Fiction.
It's not science fact documentary.
Right. Mm-hmm.
It's not labeled as that.
Nope.
Just curious.
I mean, it's not pure sci-fi. That would require pure realism. It's got a dusting of fantasy in there.
These are the same guys that got super upset when the Acolyte had fire in space.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. They do want a certain amount of realism. And
what are you doing
maybe that
there
would take them out of it. Fair enough.
I understand that. Yeah. If your thing is I need to feel like it's realistic, you have a giant penis monster alien chasing people in space. That from Jump Street, you should be like, no. I don't believe this for 1 second. Plus you've had 6 movies prior to this.
And I don't want to just point out those guys. Like, there's a whole side of the internet that's doing it. I think
they're just
Drinker hated it. I think Nerdrotic hated it. I think Film Threat called it. Almost everybody on that side of the internet seems to have hated it. Well, I think Film Threat called it just a cover band. So it's like
that's close. That's something that I would have shorthanded it as a expensive fan film. And that wasn't a gripe.
Those don't hurt me as much. Yeah. I think that's closer to what it is, but then I would just argue with that, like, it's not just a cover band. I mean, I said this in the other thing. I think I've repeated it to nauseum, but I see it as more like a symphonic orchestration of, the classics, or like, it's going to be the symphony plays Nirvana, something like that. Like, yes, these are the songs that you're kind of familiar with, but man, they're masterfully doing it, and they are filling it out in such an amazing way that shows like precision and just the artistry, the mastery of what they can do.
Right.
I wouldn't say it's just a cover band. It's not just some dudes who are, having a face hugger creature or whatever. I think it's a little bit more than just that, but fair enough. But yeah, it seems like a whole side of the internet's kind of hating this movie.
Somebody
But
described
it's a
it.
divisive franchise.
Yeah.
People have hated 3, 4, Prometheus, Covenant,
Yeah.
AVPs. There's a lot of people who say there's 2 movies and 2 movies alone.
Right,
This
but, like-
does kind of pay homage to the other movies in the franchise, so I can see why you'd hate it.
Well, there's a difference between homage and being The Force Awakens, and it sounds like they're describing this as The Force Awakens. This is not The
They
Force
are.
Awakens. This is
A lot of people are saying it's just that. It is The Force Awakens. And maybe, you know, it's subjective. To them, they're saying, like, okay, they're restarting it. They're doing a bunch of notes that are similar so that we kind of see it. Like, I do get that comparison to it, but for me, this worked where The Force Awakens really did not. And I don't think they did anything to, like, kill the main characters or the continuity where, like, literally Han Solo. Like, come on, man. Making him a deadbeat father and then just killing him like that.
Did you blink? You missed the scene where Ripley's on screen for a second, says, "Hi, I'm Ellen Ripley," and then she gets stabbed by a lightsaber? You missed that?
For me, this works a lot more. But fair enough. Your mileage may vary. It does... The other films that are up here on the screen, you know, if you hate those, it does kind of pay a little bit of homage to them as well. So it would be off-putting, I think.
And everyone has their own breaking point, I guess I'll say, as like a shorthand here for what I'm trying to say here. It's like, check out my channel, My 2 Cents of Nonsense. I did a short video talking about this. And in it, I talk about, like, yeah, the characters make some dumb decisions in this movie. But for the most part, I can kind of understand a lot of them. They're in shock. They don't know what just happened. Their friend just got face-ified by a face hugger. They're stressed. They're in shock. They're not thinking clearly. But at the same time, while I'm willing to excuse a lot of that, because, you know, shitty situation, what do you do? The moment What's-Her-Face injected herself with that crap for no reason, that's kind of a breaking point for me, because it's like, I don't feel like that was justified. So, you know, everyone, as I'm like saying, you know, don't get too hung up on stupid decisions, that's a stupid decision that I'm hung up on. So everyone has their own deal and what they'll accept and what they won't accept, but then there's other people that are looking for reasons to not like something.
So before I forget, which one of them said that the characters were like R words?
Oh God, it's probably quartering, just throwing it at just a shot in the dark.
You're muted.
My bad. Oh,
Right? Excuse me.
Oh.
I have not seen any of his coverage on it, so I don't know about him.
Me neither.
But yeah, I've seen quite a few different ones that have kind of either used like the title, like Gen Z and their special needs robot in space, or they even go like way further on that, like essentially TikTokers and their, you know, R-word robot. It feels strange to me because you look at like the original Star Wars. Are you going to call that like, I don't know, what was the generation of people in the 70s? I guess I'm kind of blanking on that.
Gen
yeah,
X?
I guess is it teen boomers in space with their slow robots, or I don't know. You know what I mean? It's
space truck.
It just I don't know. It doesn't feel as generous as you could be in it, but hey, it might be a title to get someone to click on it.
See, it's right.
That's it right there.
If that's what's bringing people in, as the person who understands that, you know, they're making money on this, you know, you make that money. I don't hate. I can't hate somebody playing the game. The problem is the people that regurgitate that shit, that really just have no reason to, or have not seen the movie, or like, that's frustrating, and it's not genuine. You're just saying it because your favorite YouTuber says it, and that's troublesome to me, because it just seems like sometimes they just want to say things because they've heard it. And a lot of snooty film tube, which I happen to be a part of in some circles, just
I've seen your face on a little TV screen on your video, so yeah, it makes sense. Snooty too.
They want to replicate what is obnoxious about debate bros, and it's not about what debates are supposed to be, and, you know, finding a middle ground, and, you know, whatever. It's just, I'm going to own you on these things that I've heard enough that I'm confident that somebody else will know what I'm saying. Not, this is how I feel, this is how I interpret it, because it's art. That's what's frustrating to me. I can't hate on content creators that are, you know,
No,
just
for sure.
paying their bills or whatever. Like I get
It
it.
got me to click on the review. Like I knew that they were going
Right.
to hate it, and it's like, oh, okay, well, this one seems obviously divisive. But I don't know. I'm just trying to think of like any other thing. Like, I don't know. Did you think of like the original Aliens as like? Now I'm trying to think of what people in a 79 would be. I guess would they still be boomers? Would that be boomers in space? Diverse boomer truckers in space? I don't know.
My mind hurts.
I mean, yeah, I would say so, and they were pretty diverse. Sorry, I dropped my $50. We did.
Sounds like you dropped the thing from Inception.
I did actually. Sorry, guys. Yeah, this is all a dream. You're not real. I'm the only one here that matters. Sorry, guys. Like it makes sense though, right? Like, what was I going to say? Like, it was a really diverse cast in that first movie. Like, you know, there's a trans character, and like that alone for the 70s is kind of huge. Am I wrong? Like
For the 70s, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah.
Incredible.
My favorite Letterboxd review said, of course, the one Latina in the movie managed to get herself pregnant in space.
Wow.
If they're kidding, it's
she
funny.
didn't get herself pregnant. Okay.
Yeah.
It took two.
I mean,
Well, she did say some asshole got her pregnant. She didn't say whose asshole. So, you know, she might have. Okay, no, I'll stop.
but like that's what bothers me about this discourse is if it's a joke, it's funny. I understand the joke there, but because the discourse is so, I'm going to own you and shit on your head, like the people who aren't doing this for fun are just they're just ruining things. Like I really hate talking about movies on the internet, which is really unfortunate because we're on the internet talking about movies.
And like, to an extent, I get it. I'm the King Shark guy. I milked that shit for so much more than I should have, and hell, I even made a video last year about it just for shits and giggles. Like, you know, it gets views, and views are money. I understand that, but like when the thing that you're doing for views and money is coming at the cost of other things, that's, I mean, me personally, like I like to think of it like if I was on a date with a girl and I was like, oh, I'm a YouTuber, and she's like, oh, what do you do? And I like sent her a video, and you know, the video is me ranting about like how dare Rey Skywalker be a woman in Star Wars. Like, is that girl going to go on a second date with me? Probably not. Like,
what happens if she does want to go on a second date with you?
I might have found the one.
Then you got to keep it up.
Then you become the quartering.
The Lindsay ring.
You know, audience capture. It's a thing.
Yeah, Go ahead.
I can definitely see how people's mileage is definitely going to vary with this. It's a really divisive franchise where there are a lot of diehards who hate the whole, even once Ridley Scott came in with his kind of weird take on how this could start, it's pretty divisive. Prometheus and Covenant aren't like, you know, universally loved. We never got the third part of that trilogy. So.
What bums me out about this is it can be argued that Romulus is a horror movie. It's a sci-fi horror.
Oh yeah. It's super spooky dooky.
It's good enough. Whatever you think of it, it's good enough to warrant more.
Yeah.
That's all that bums me out. And it seems like for some reason sci-fi horror just doesn't get the traction that I really wish it did. Like Annihilation, I thought was awesome. That experience was really cool.
That's the best video game movie to date. Mortal Kombat Annihilation. Like there are things in that movie I have not seen. So glad that
Reptile was there. Yeah. I don't know. I read that book and it goes so much deeper. And there's like so much going on with the weird lighthouse and lighthouse keeper. That movie, it was really amazing, like visually and how they were able to kind of do that. But I wanted a little bit more out of it. But
that's fair.
I'm glad that you had that experience with it. Like that is so awesome.
Right. That's what like good art is supposed to, or at least good cinema is supposed to be, something that you enjoy but you want more from. Mm-hmm. And I don't know the general gripes against something like Romulus is just it's not being fair is what I would say, because it looks fantastic. If you're telling me that it's lazy and referencing the elevator scene with the floating acid, I'm sorry, I don't understand how you words.
Well, it's plot contrivance, you know? The gravity purging.
Oh, movies are contrivance.
It's true. It's true.
Excuse me, sir. I saw a movie where a high schooler who looked like a 25-year-old got bit by a spider, and then he became Spider-Man. not contrived at all. Like his dad
Well-
might have messed with his DNA in order for that. I'm talking about the
that makes
Amazing
sense.
Spider-Man. In order for him to,
Yeah. There's a group of guys that I kind of had a podcast with for a bit where we were kind of going through those, and he did see Peter Parker being bit by the spider as a plot contrivance, but only because it didn't show him like in the lab multiple times. If it showed him in there multiple times, no plot contrivance.
I
That
want to
works.
see.
Like,
I want to see the 7-minute cut of Spider-Man. He just leaves and there's no more movie.
I don't know. Everyone has their own opinion on everything, you know, and that's why I would love to see the movies that some of these guys would make. Maybe they would make a great one if they're seeing all these issues with kind of perceived plot holes. Maybe theirs would be flawless.
But
like,
it's something where no film is flawless. Like
no,
there's
and
no
this is
movie-
not a flawless film.
Of course not.
It is. It's. I don't know. For me, it's currently in my third place in this entire franchise,
agree.
and I don't know. It might be moving up. We'll see.
I agree. It's the best looking since Aliens, which is saying quite a bit.
It
I
is.
think they all have their own beauty about them in their own way and their horrific nightmarishness. But yeah, this movie looked really good. This movie was just candy for the eyes, man.
Yeah. So that's the other
I
thing
have to
too.
disagree with Cody right now. He's saying that Back to the Future is flawless, and I'm sorry. It's a plot contrivance. It's your cousin Marvin, Marvin Barry. Come on.
Crap.
Sorry.
No, it's fine.
Also, The
Wish It Was
Rocketeer is a
Beautiful.
perfect movie with no contrivances in it at all. Okay,
I do like Jennifer Connelly in that one. It is a fun one.
So yeah, the problem with the complaints, and again, the lazy label, I'm going to put that on this again, is this has practical effects. And what big dumb studio people are going to see is, oh, see, we're wasting that money for nothing. They're just calling us lazy anyway. Go back to the computers. And that, as a film fan, as a practical effects admirer, it really sucks because it's not the effects' fault at all. Like at all.
Oh yeah, it's time. It's like you remember the Thing prequel sequel thing. Like the entire movie was like not the entire movie, but like the majority of the movie was like practical effects. And then someone at the studio was like, "No, it all looks like it was in the 80s. We need to go through and put bad CGI." I don't know why it's George Lucas. George Lucas would not have said anything.
Oh, that's your George Lucas.
It sounds like
I mean that does
doing Lucas.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, whatever character that was.
If you guys haven't checked out like the behind the scenes features on this, there's so many of them that are on the internet right now, and I'm sure there's just going to be more. But the practical effects are like through the roof. Like every single
For
bit
Romulus,
of like,
I mean, right?
yeah, for Romulus. Sorry, not for whatever we were talking about before that. But yes, do check out the behind the scenes on that. Like every single one of the creatures seems to be a practical wired thing, and then it looks like they're just using little help from the CG on there, which it's awesome. It augments it very well.
It's the way Jurassic Park did it.
Mm-hmm.
Practical
Yes.
with CG help, and that like a 60-40 thing is really the way you want to see it done. Lucas says people are obviously entitled to their opinions, but it feels like most of the hate from grifter movie reviewers is contrived. In reality, this is a really good old school sci-fi horror. I can't agree more.
Totally.
If you have problems with the movie, okay, it's not flawless. But when you start saying things like lazy, it's just like, where? Tell me where. Show me on the bear where the movie's lazy.
Well, you see, in the elevator, there's some issues with it. Like it's not perfect. I have two main things that I think if they were gone, I think I'd argue that it's pretty damn flawless. But it's always subjective.
But to take the debate bro mentality, you could not win every argument that it's flawless. Like that's what I mean.
No.
So, and that's something that I thought, see, I told you guys this, I don't know if it was live or whatever, but my first thought was, oh no, they made the synthetic woke for 5 to 10 minutes. Cause I thought like they were trying to do a thing, and it's been labeled that by people like that. And I'm like, but the rest of the movie happens. And then he gets his like SD card charged up and switched. And he actually plays two
Suddenly
different
he's like
characters.
the most badass in the
Right. So,
film for a minute.
did you only watch the first 15 minutes?
Yeah, that moment where he grabs the facehugger tail out of the air, I'm just like,
Yeah.
oh, someone's different. Like, where is
Yeah.
this
Apparently,
going?
that was a contrivance for some. That the fact that he did it at that moment, when it's like, well, when else would you grab it though? Like it would kind of have to be while it's striking, otherwise.
These contrivances things are reminding me of this bit from Community where Abed's like trying to tell like a horror story, but he wants to tell it like in real time. Like, guys, the radio that wouldn't be telling the news story the moment you turn on the radio. They need to listen to some music for a little bit before he can get to
Yeah. People are losing touch with the fact that movies are supposed to be majestic in some way. It's not supposed to be like flipping on the news. It's supposed to be big. If you want a little bit more realistic, that's what television kind of should be for. Because movies were supposed to be, well, at least they were supposed to be a much bigger deal, a much bigger experience, something that you go out to experience and go out to see. This thing that you couldn't possibly live through. But the fact that we're like, meh, I don't believe that you could breathe that long underwater. Like, but okay.
Yeah, and honestly, like, there's something about modern film that I think is just kind of depriving that majesty of film. Like I briefly mentioned The Acolyte as a joke earlier, but season 2 has been canceled. We're not getting that. And
is that true?
Yeah, that's official.
There are comparisons made between the two things.
We'll get there. Fascinating. Okay. We'll get there. But like Star Wars has lost so much of that majesty because we get like a new thing every other week right now. Like I understand that Disney spent $4 billion and wanted the money back right away. Oh no, I no 100%. But I'm saying to an extent I was willing to say like, okay, front load it, but then take time in between. But no, they're just doing more and more and more, and it's just losing that magic. I don't know.
But I do agree with what Cody's saying, that these people need to apply the CinemaSins brain to the originals, and I guarantee they'll find just as many stupid contrivances that never bothered any of us for decades. Mm-hmm. When people are mocking this one for there's no characterization, look at that original one. Like everything I know about Ripley pretty much comes from Aliens. Like we just know that these are truckers on there. I love all the characters, but I couldn't tell you much about Dallas. I couldn't tell you much about any of the characters from the original one, really, except for they're truckers. They want their bonuses.
This, you get an idea through our lead character, what's going on. And, they're exploited workers, kind of like they were in Alien. They're constantly talking about their pay situation, their bonus situation.
Yeah. And I guess that Ash is a new one in the original one, that Dallas had done like 5 missions with another science officer, and then he got brought in right before this one. So there's a new guy.
I should have rewatched Alien and prepped for Romulus. I'm such a bad person. It's been way too long since I've seen it. I love that movie.
I still haven't seen Romulus again yet, but I was
going to say, in general,
I spoiled the entire movie for you. Like, wow.
Spoiler. But there are things that are like, characterization. How much extra do you want? And again, Cody brought this up a while ago, that you're going to complain about characterization, but then if they fill it out for an extra 15, 20 minutes, you're going to say, the pacing's off. And it's just like, they can't fucking win.
Mm-hmm. And I'm hearing kind of both of it about that start time. Like either the start is way too slow, like nothing happens for like 45 minutes, or they need to really flesh out that start part. It just goes through it too quickly. So I don't know. I don't know if anyone's going to be happy, but I am. I think it's a really decent flick. It's one of my favorite of the year. I don't know that it would be top 3, but I'm working on that list.
Lindsay, do you want to fill us in on your theory between Acolyte and whatever?
Oh, I know. I was just gonna say, just like I'm just online things reacting to the Acolyte before it could even like really get off the ground. People are already making a lot of assumptions. Like it wasn't the strongest start. I'm not gonna pretend like that Acolyte was flawless. It wasn't. But this online culture that is now like calling almost entirely the same people, I'm going to assume, calling Romulus lazy, are the same people that spent months bitching about Acolyte.
But why is the complaint about the movie if you look at the cast of Romulus,
Mhm.
you have a lot of diversity.
Yeah.
You have the first black synthetic.
True.
I think a member of the cast is non-binary. I think I might have it confused with something else, but there's not that many white people in this movie. It doesn't make sense that that's not something you're complaining about this time. Because if the movie sucks, then it's DEI, right? Because they just forced diversity into it. I don't understand. Like, how do we say that DEI is a thing, but when there is diversity, it's the movie that sucks? And well, wait a minute. How come this diversity last time and now it's just the movie shitting?
Well, it's the nature of the grift. The story evolves as you need it to evolve in order to get the money in that moment.
For sure. And then, sorry, I just saw Troy's comment on there that they're much more defined in the original, more than just truckers out for a check. On the surface level, yes, they're given much more than that. You're correct. I am trying to say that. I'm just saying I feel like there is more characterization. I know a little bit more about some of the characters in this one than I did about a lot of the characters in the first one. I think there's characterization in both of them. There's characters I love in both of them. But I think the criticism of Romulus saying that there's no characterization, I think you'd have to put that on the first one as well. This is my whole point with that. I'm not trying to say there's no characterization in any of it.
Right.
I just don't think the criticism is held throughout all of them.
Right. So Alien, the pacing, I mean, it takes a while to get going, but it's setting the table for the movie. This is a sequel. If you go to Aliens, they get to the point much quicker. It's an area that we should know. You can't use the same time frame in a world that you're already familiar with. Those type of complaints come to me as somebody who doesn't understand how sequels work. Because I could probably name a ton of movies and their sequels, how the sequel does a similar thing but much faster.
James Cameron got so lucky on sequels. Like, he just did 2 amazing ones. But man, sequels generally don't work. Yeah, we're in debate about that, but fair enough.
Yeah, I do consider the Way of Water debatable, but yeah, it made a lot of money.
True. Box office, definitely financially successful, but I didn't end up liking it as much as the first one. For me, it doesn't work, but man, he's got some other ones that are just amazing sequels. Speaking
of money, so the grift end of YouTube has just killed their cash cow. Congratulations, because they made such a big stink about Acolyte. Oh, yeah. They now can't capitalize on a season 2. It to me feels foolish. Like,
I
don't know. Ooh, what?
The very last chat coming.
Okay. Can you just spin wheels while I get us a thing?
For sure.
2 peanuts were walking down the street. One was assaulted.
That's some dry roasted humor.
Oh, sir.
Yeah,
you deserve a handshake for that one. That was that was beautiful worst, right there. The way.
I could have literally said the alphabet in the meantime, and the same amount would have happened.
Well, I could sing the Michael Jackson alphabet song, A, B, C.
No, I'm back.
Easy as 1, 2, 3.
We're on a timer again.
Yes.
We should be getting an alternate opinion relatively shortly, but
nice.
Somebody brought it up before that, and Cody did earlier, about this whole CinemaSins approach to things, and it was a joke. It was a neat little gimmick, something that you maybe watch on the way to work, like, oh, look at how stupid Terminator 2 is, and so it's like, yeah, stupid. Mm-hmm. It's a cute joke, but it shouldn't be film criticism, like, at all. Like, oh, look, her hair was in front of her eye for that one take, and now it's not, so this movie's awful. No, that's not. No, I'm sorry. You're not watching movies, right?
No, yeah, I was a big CinemaSins fan for a while. I am willing to admit my shame, but
I don't hate it.
I still like them. Yeah, they're fun. I just don't know if that's the way that you're meant to digest a movie.
Right. And it's
I love what's his name? The pitch meeting guy, Ryan George. That dude is awesome. It's kind of the same type of deal, and I watch him tear apart movies I love in that same fashion. It's like, yeah, that probably is how it was pitched to the studio. Like, that's awesome.
Sure.
It doesn't mean that I don't love it, but if that's how you look at every movie, I don't know if anything's going to stack up.
I can enjoy both as like the original art and look, a little jab taken or a roast format of the movie I like. But because so many people have adopted that as like their take on the movie itself, it really ruins the experience. And I don't know. I like movies and I like having fun with them, but I don't like arguing with someone over a watered down gotcha take. And it's just, I don't know. This is supposed to be entertainment. I really don't understand.
There's a lot of bad faith criticism on the internet, and sadly, it's probably not going anywhere anytime soon.
Well, yeah. So I've heard this a couple of times now that people are going to movies because they want, like, they know going into something that they want to shit on it, and that just it's.
Like, you say that Cody appears. Sorry.
Speaking of case in point, welcome to the show. Hello, gentlemen.
How you doing, man?
Hello.
Not too bad. Not too bad.
Good to see you.
I was trying to type all my arguments. I'm like, I'm tired of typing. Fuck
should have started with that. I could have got you here way sooner.
Yeah.
Okay, so you were saying?
What were we talking about? Because I was trying to set everything up. I didn't even know what.
We did a bad job spinning wheels for you to get here in the meantime.
Oh.
I'm very proud of our jokes. Thank you very much.
There was a peanut one. It was not bad.
It's unsalted. So what was the last thing you remember, Cody?
I don't know. It's just been like, we've talked about it a lot in our chats.
The discourse.
It just feels like a really weird movie to draw this level of disdain from those that don't like it.
Yeah.
Like, right. I knew when I watched it, I'm like, okay, certain people that want sequels that aren't derivative aren't going to like this so much. Some people are going to really hate the CGI part of it. Some people are going to get really upset about the callbacks. But I've been really surprised to see the level of hatred that some people have had for it over even smaller things. And especially like the CinemaSins type stuff where it's just like, good Lord, like I've been getting all these questions, or I've been seeing reviews where they're like, this doesn't make any fucking sense, this here. And there was somebody on Twitter that said, don't even try to think about how we got a bunch of face huggers on this ship without a queen or without something else. And I was like, but David made eggs in a cave on a fucked up planet with just black goo in one body. They had a team of scientists, a whole space station, a whole xenomorph, and the black goo. I think they might be able to make eggs. You know, like there's all these. Go ahead.
The Nostromo was sent to that location. Like, who's to say that wasn't an event that Weyland-Yutani didn't already know about or didn't set into motion? Especially how Ridley Scott did those first two. But guessing the person that hates that hated those new additions to it.
But by that mentality, if you watch Alien for the first time, you're like, how did these aliens get here? What's the deal with the skull thing in when it ended up being the engineer? Like, they don't answer that right away. So, like, what is that a problem?
And I sent it to you in the same chat. It was the same person that was bitching about that was also arguing with another person about how Prometheus raises more questions than it answers. And it was just back and forth about like, well, Ridley was smart enough to answer certain things and leave other things unanswered. And I'm like, so everything that's unanswered in this one is shit writing, but everything that's unanswered in this one is brilliant Ridley Scott.
Well, then my bad. I assume they hated Prometheus and Covenant if they're coming in with that criticism.
Depends on the argument.
Okay.
There's no consistency.
I do not know.
No consistency.
But the nature of the grift.
I've found it just a lot of things are very strange. Like there's certain things that probably, they could have taken an extra minute or so to answer, but like Charles was saying earlier, then you're going to add 15 minutes to the runtime, and then people are already saying the thing is slow. And I'm like, what fucking movie did you watch? Like as soon as it starts, it's breakneck until the damn thing closes out. And I also think like, back in '79 when the first one came out, you had this version of the future where it's futuristic, but also analog and primitive at the same time. And I don't think people are able to wrap their heads around that now because we're in 2024. We've got supercomputers in our pockets and VR glasses and shit. And so you'll have things like, well, how come if that space station went offline, they didn't immediately know at home base? And I'm like, well, there's a spot where he says, I've sent a message to home base and they'll get it in 6 months. Their technology is not as good as ours. You're forgetting that. So there's all these little weird things where, I don't know. Like, I think right before I clicked on, somebody said, like, a lot of people walked into this movie wanting to hate it. And I hate believing that because it's an easy cop-out thing to say to dismiss all criticism. But it's hard not to feel that way with a lot of people, the attitude they've taken towards it, where it's like, it feels like you're grasping at things to justify how much you don't like it, when you could just as easily say, hey, I like things to be original, and this decided to be a throwback movie, and that's not for me. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah. But inversely or retroactively finding a reason to hate it, like working your way back from the middle, it just doesn't seem right or genuine. There's, to what you just brought up, Cody, the one gripe against the notifying home base or whatever. It's quite clear that they have weapons on this ship. If they're aware of what they have on there, would they go out there anyway? If they know what, like, the plan is, if something goes wrong, I wouldn't be surprised if they just let somebody else figure it out. I don't give a shit. Yeah.
Until they figure out what they're going to do with it. I mean, I know. I've seen the movie twice. The second time I wasn't able to pay attention as closely as I wanted to because it was just a shit theater experience. But there could be things in there where you could come to your own conclusions, but they also could leave some things that they plan on possibly exploring in a sequel. You know what I mean? Like, and I mean, there's questions that we don't have answered in Alien until Aliens comes along. I think Gray brought up, like, you know, talking about characterization. We all love Ripley. Ripley's this icon. She wasn't really an icon until Aliens. Like, she's just the one that survived in the first one. Good character, not shitting on her, but
for sure,
we have this weird revisionist history kind of attitude towards franchises nowadays that's strange. And I think a lot of people go into it where they're like, if this doesn't match the level of impact that those top two had, then it's shit. And it's like, well, welcome to sequels. None of them do that. You know, we're not in 1979. There's nothing you're going to bring to Alien that's going to impact the world the way that the first two did. All you can hope for is a damn good movie.
Yeah.
A lot of us thought this one was that, but some of us didn't.
James,
and along that thought, like Sarah Connor is, you know, in the first movie, great character, strong. You like her. You wonder, you're not hoping for the Terminator to kill her, but you know she's not the legendary badass that she became in Terminator 2 yet. And because that's character.
That's any character. I mean, fuck, you look at Laurie Strode. You look at Sydney Prescott. Like, it wasn't like instant queen status. Yeah, it wasn't instant status in the first movie, and so it's like nowadays it's such a weird thing with some people where it's like their standards are so unattainable because of a legacy of 40-year-old movies, and it's like, this movie's been out for 4 fucking days. Like, it's not going to match that ever. And I don't. It's just weird. Such a weird discourse surrounding it. Like, to me, the normal version would have been some people that wanted a throwback movie, they wanted the vibe of those first 2 films, really dig it. Those that kind of liked something more original, like Prometheus, a little disappointed that we don't get the 3rd film in that trilogy and we got this instead. That's like a normal discourse to me, but
it does feel like it's not a bad bridge between the two.
I agree. I'm not somebody that really loves Prometheus or Covenant. There's things I appreciate about it. I don't really love them as the answer for what the xenomorph came from, but this movie, what it does with it, I'm like, you know, kind of like them a little bit better now. Keep doing that.
When we saw that tank of like the black goo or whatever, I was like, oh, this movie's about to go weird, and I am down for it.
I sunk in my chair the same way I did with Alien Covenant, where I was like, good alien film, and then David shows up, and I'm like, fuck. And this was the same thing. I was like, it's just like the original too. Oh, fuck goo.
No. Less.
You were almost there, goddammit.
Cody, what is the discourse like on your reviews and your? I wouldn't ask you about your ex because that place is cursed regardless. But on your YouTube review, what's the discourse like as far as your Romulus review?
I didn't pay too much attention to it at first. I've kind of
hear that? If you comment, he doesn't give a fuck.
I've been in disengage mode for the last couple of weeks because of all the madness that's happened. But for the bit that I did look, it was similar to X, where it's like, absolutely love the movie, totally agree with your review, or this movie's shit, you're a hack. You know what I mean? It was kind of that. I don't know if it was 50-50, but I read enough versions of that where I was like, okay, I see where the discourse of this movie's going. Bye, guys.
I can see your Disney check on the desk.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I actually had a moment like that this week with I put out a little thing about Snow White, and at first, like the comments were dope and stuff, but then they very quickly became, "Oh, Rachel Ziegler's a terrible person," and it's all I'm like, "Oh, nope, okay, check. I'm not engaging with any of that."
Yeah,
It's just gotten weird, and unfortunately, they're a big enough voice that it's causing things to change and be altered, and I don't know. What is a fan? What is a movie fan today? What does it look like? How do they act?
That's a good question.
Good.
That is a really good question.
No,
I assume it's somebody that actually enjoys movies, but I don't know. Is that
Where are they?
necessarily
Where did they
what
go?
like a reviewer is for? Like, should they be enjoying everything?
No,
don't know.
but it's weird that the overarching theme of everything is criticism, negative shit. You can't get any sort of movement unless you're shitting on something, and it's really a bummer. Like a lot.
I struggle with it sometimes where like it not always. I've actually been pleasantly surprised how well my Alien Romulus review was doing, but
Nice.
I almost 80% of the time, if I'm like this in the thumbnail, do pretty good. If I'm like this, it's way better. It's a bummer sometimes where I'm like, fuck, man. Some of you guys come around when I'm enjoying something.
it is sad that the internet just like it's not allergic to positivity, but it's never what it wants, or it never seems to be what it wants, and I don't know, that's just a shame to me.
It's weird. I would almost call it like Schadenfreude for movies.
What the fuck?
It's
Enjoying the misfortune of others.
yeah. It's a
Like
word.
Dan Stevens and Cuckoo Schadenfreude.
I haven't. I don't know what that is. Yeah, it's a word that the Germans came up with. Go figure.
Yeah.
To describe having joy in someone else's displeasure. Or you had it, right? What was it again?
I think you got it.
Okay.
I don't know. I was just going off memory. I don't have a
It's
real
pretty
definition
close.
locked
Yeah,
in or
it's just
anything.
having joy in someone else's
I
pain.
get it. I mean, I've definitely done that. I think we all have, where you know,
Sure.
like you see the bad guy in a movie and it's like, ha, he got his comeuppance. But I don't know. I guess I don't want that for movie franchises. I would like it if we just had some really good movie franchises out there. But yeah, none of my videos are getting clicked on. So yeah, it's not like I don't know. It's so much easier to make a clickbait title for "This is the worst thing ever" than this is the new Citizen Kane. I don't know. I'm not sure if anyone's going to click on that.
I do think that that's like the superlatives tend to drive things. Like if you say this is the greatest movie ever, and you're like talking about, I don't know, Despicable Me 4, it's just like what? Do you watch movies at all, or it just seems like if you say the greatest or the worst, it seems to, I don't know, it seems to be a magnet for things. But
I get a version of that comment a lot where it's like, I don't know what you saw. This movie was the worst movie I've seen in years. And I'm like, how many movies do you watch? Like, it's always something weird too. It's not like, Mickey's Mousetrap. It's always something like, Maxine. It's like, this is the worst thing I've seen in a decade. I'm like, oh, I commend your movie choices then. Pretty fucking
you have really good selection.
Something that's weird I noticed too, like just in relation to like the reactions that we seem to see in these sequels to these big beloved franchises, like it seems like nobody wants the same thing, and no matter what they do, they lose.
Oh yeah.
Like you look at something like Terminator. They tried to chase Terminator 2 for how many sequels and just could never do it. And then you look at Alien, and it's kind of the stark opposite, where they have almost to a fault tried to go off in a complete tangent with every movie. Alien 3, ultra dark, nihilistic. Alien 4, super weird. Joss Whedon and a bunch of little DNA splices. And then you get the AVP movies that are more action schlock. And we don't like that either. Prometheus, more philosophical. Fuck that. It's not enough like Alien. Alien Covenant.
Yeah.
Nah, it's too much like Alien. And then they've tried to do so many different things. And then you get this movie where they're just like, okay, fuck it. Let's just try to recreate some things we love about the first two. And then you get people that are like, I don't want that either.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just
So
sucks that they've been in like production hell as a franchise. Like there's at least 3 different versions of Alien 3 that were kind of in production that kind of never happened. And then finally they got Sigourney to sign on again. So I don't know. We got Fincher's thing,
so
which is very mixed reaction. Sorry, man. What was that?
on the screen, I have the 5 most recent releases from the Alien franchise.
Woo.
And the strongest since AVP is Prometheus. And that's only 402 million. So maybe are we like putting Marvel mentality against this thing? Like why isn't it anywhere close to $1 billion? But it just seems like
I would
maybe this is
never
good.
expect it. When I heard that it made 40 something million and 100 over 120 or something worldwide, I was like, damn, that's pretty fucking good. And then I saw other people that are like, flop. And I'm like, not really.
So it did make the most, but it did also have the highest budget. Supposedly it was 125 million for Prometheus, their budget, where like Romulus was only 80 million budget. So
They made their money back.
I don't know.
They're going to clear Requiem. They're going to clear AVP. And it's going to be close with Covenant, which brought in 238. So it's not going to make $1 billion. I don't think they thought it was going to make $1 billion. What frustrates me is this is 20th century. They put Prey out on Hulu last year. This isn't going to make them at all more confident in doing stuff like this. And it sucks. Like it just sucks for people who enjoy this movie. It sucks for people.
You don't think they're gonna be happy with the box office of Romulus?
What was its budget? Was it 80? What was the what did we
80, and
80 for Romulus.
I think it's already made 120 ish.
108 worldwide, I think.
100, okay. Well,
It'll
close
do that.
enough. Yeah, 80. So advertising 120. Yeah, it'll be okay. I think. Do you think it's going to pull 400? Do you think it'll kind of cap out around 200 to 300?
I need to know what the second weekend does because I don't know how to gauge the word of mouth because it seems like it was on pace to make 50 this weekend and then the internet got a hold of it and it kind of stalled out by Sunday.
Didn't even make it ends with us opening weekend numbers, which is
that's
crazy
weird.
to me.
That's
What
weird.
was it?
Lively,
Was it rated R or PG-13?
I think it was PG-13. I don't think there was much.
Blake Lively,
R in
melodramatic.
oh, I don't know. I didn't see it.
Yawn.
The one that took number one, well, the highest non-Wolverine one last
Made
week.
50 million last week, Cody. So I don't. That's unsettling. I don't know. It's frustrating because it seems like the only things that really make money and get like the noise are the big Marvel things. I mean, Deadpool cleared $1 billion already. Family films, all those animated things make $1 billion, and then here you have Furiosa just tanked. Even for what they were expecting, Fall Guy tanked. It's just it sucks. It sucks to be a movie fan and enjoy the theater experience, and there's no sort of hope for something that isn't a giant like $300 million budget. And I don't know. And it's like I forgot which one of you said it. There's so many different voices now, and everybody with the right magic can get their voice heard, and nobody's going to agree on anything. So like there's this conglomerate of just negativity, and I think the fact that Disney, with all of the noise that was being made about The Acolyte, are not going on with a second season is troubling because it was it was word of mouth, whether or not it was negative or what, but people are talking about it. So that's kind of like what you want.
I don't think anyone talked about any Disney Star Wars shows as much as that one, but I don't think that translated into views. So I don't know.
Apologies. Lucas, $5 super chat. Thank you.
Yeah.
Whoa.
The narrative that Alien Romulus is woke really feels completely contrived. In a lot of ways, the movie feels straight out of the past.
Are people calling it woke?
I know.
haven't seen that.
I haven't seen that too much. Just Gen Z in space, or I guess TikTokers in space.
Because
but
they're
isn't
young.
it always? Yeah, I was gonna say, isn't it always young? Like I wonder if they'd be saying the same thing about like the original. Well, I guess it did have some people like in their 30s and 40s in the original Alien. Fair enough. But a lot of those classics, like Star Wars and stuff, like isn't that kind of, is it boomers in space or I don't know.
Alien's been traditionally diverse. Like the first one, it was a pretty diverse crew. This might be the most diverse, but it's not like out of nowhere. So like I said it earlier, if people are complaining about this movie being woke or this movie the DEI hires, but the first thing they jump to here is like lazy. I think if I had to choose, I would understand a bit more if they were like, oh, this movie's woke. It's like, okay, the cast of characters looks like something that they would be bothered by. But when you jump to, I mean, if it's fascinating how people have different versions of X and Twitter that they see all these different complaints. I don't know. Is any of it acceptable? I guess I would.
So are they saying it's the people that are saying it's woke? They're saying it because it's a diverse cast of characters. That's the trigger there.
I don't know
I think
what.
also special needs robot has come up quite a few times, but I
Woke is when
don't view that as.
This is why it's such a flimsy argument, though. Like, aside from the fact that usually people say it's woke if they're like drawing attention to how diverse it is, when there's not one mention of it in the movie.
Right.
But you have an Asian character, you have multiple Hispanic characters. The heroine is white, and if you really want to be a dick about it, she has a colored servant robot with her. Like, if you wanted to go that route, which would be stupid, you could, but that's as anti-woke as it gets. So I don't know. That's dumb to me. I'm glad I haven't seen too much of that. I would have had a fucking headache. But
how woke is it when? Never mind. That might be spoilers. Never mind. Moving on.
But yeah, it's almost. The woke argument could fall in on itself because if anything, once you get to thinking about the fact that the robot is a black guy and robot's another word for slave, like you could really go to a dark place with the word woke for this. So
exactly. It's just we need to eventually get back to a point where people can just be characters, and there's not always some kind of an agenda for them being in there, or an agenda for what race actor got what role. At no point in this movie that I ever think like, oh God, they made the droid black. Like it doesn't play into the story at all. He's a fucking awesome character that most people watch the movie and they walk away saying he was the highlight.
Yeah,
that's the only part of it that I walked away from, and that's what most people should walk away from.
Some of the most iconic shots in there was just I don't know, that Andy character. There's at least 2 times where I wouldn't mind having like a poster of it's just him standing there with a really wide shot. Like both times, they're just so beautiful.
Well, there's that
one
where
where he's in the hallway, and the lights keep going, and so he's like in shadow, and that's a good one.
I also really like the one where he's looking up at the sky as like his eyes have rolled back and you see the way it's like he's getting possessed by the company. Oh, so good. So good.
You said the word lazy wrong, Lindsay. The word you're looking for is lazy.
Well, sorry. It's good. I can't say it. It's great. Sorry, I can't.
You're complimenting that contrived bullshit.
My bad. My apologies.
Tony Chappie, D9 Blumpkin.
Oh, wow. Sorry, I just saw the Bloomcamp thing, and then it's like, oh yeah, he almost had a really awesome version of Aliens as well. I really wanted that one.
Scott killed it.
God damn it. There's moments where this movie felt like Elysium to me in the very, very beginning for 15 minutes or so. But
thanks, dude.
I have a feeling that the new Crow movie might bomb just because you're dealing with the Brandon fans and going to go rip it to shreds like a ton of other remakes. Just very sad. It actually doesn't look bad.
I don't think there's enough of those
Brandon
people.
Lee fans.
Yeah, I don't think there's enough of those people to affect the box office. I just don't think they're doing a good job at selling it. I mean, there's the thing it's the thing that's weird about The Crow is like we've had, people are very against remaking this original movie. Like, how dare you make a remake? And it's like, well, the other 3 sequels might as well be remakes. It's the same fucking story. He's just not named the same character. And so that's I mean, whether you're looking at Eddie Furlong as the worst version of it, or you're looking at 2 of the others, I mean, it's the same story. It's the same motivation. They just have a different power and a different fucking makeup look. Yeah. So, potato, remake, sequel.
Has
Also,
Crow?
like as like for fans of like I like Crow. I've seen it once. It was dope as hell. But like I've never been like, oh, I must watch Crow again. But anyway, part of the legacy for that movie and why people love it so much is because that the dude died. Like he's a great actor and he died way too young. And like this movie is like a memorial for him in like a way. Like how do you? That feels like so. What's the word? Gauche to like try and tap into that. Like, is that the right word? I don't think it is, but
it's that, and it's the style. Like, it's a very specific style of like that '90s alt rock kind of goth look. You know, it's very much like a Hot Topic darling. So it's one of those movies that kind of the soundtrack and the vibe of it, like it just kind of is like a snapshot in time. And I hope the movie is going to be entertaining, but you look at this new one and it looks like about a dozen other movies that we've gotten over the last 10 years. You know, Dude Out for Revenge, only this time he's, you know, he's immortal. And
Bill Skarsgård, though.
It's weird that he hasn't caught on, because after it, you would have thought that he would have been the next best thing. And
I really enjoyed Boy Kills World. I didn't think I would, but
right. I've heard it's great. But
it's not a movie that I should enjoy, and I liked it.
Yeah.
It's a great name, too. Boy Kills World. Like
he's like mute or something, and they have a voice.
Yeah.
It's like the dude from
It's
Bob's
Sean
Burgers
Benjamin.
or something.
Yes, exactly. It's Sean Benjamin. It's great.
Yeah.
If I could choose a voiceover for my whole world, like he's up there. He's on the list.
Oh, Archer. Yeah, dude, give me that. That's amazing.
Is The Crow something that like has a fandom? Like,
yes. I don't know how big it is, but the ones that are there are very passionate fans.
It's definitely a cult classic, but like they exist and they are hardcore. Yeah.
Huh. So like, what do you see it? See, I feel like Strange Darling opens this week too. And what is it? Stream comes out?
Stream and The Crow come out this week, yeah.
So you have Stream, The Crow, and Strange Darling. If I were to recommend one to somebody, considering I've only seen one, I would say Strange Darling, because I feel like it's going to get buried and people should watch it.
Which one is Strange Darling? That sounds familiar.
Kyle Gallner and I forget the actress's name, but it's like a cat and mouse serial killer chases the one that got away type movie, but
it's gorgeous.
Cool.
It's
different.
Really gorgeous. Yeah.
There might
Giovanni
be a review for it on the
Ribisi.
channel you're on.
No. He's the cinematographer.
What?
Giovanni Ribisi is the cinematographer. He's not in the movie.
Oh, what?
Is he? It's the Ribisi as
It is.
cinematographer?
It is the very same.
Wow.
how fucking weird is that?
I
didn't
need to
know
see
that.
this now.
Especially when you see the cinematography and you're like, where the fuck did this come from, sir?
It's gorgeous. It is so pretty.
All right, I'm down. Let's
Like,
do
the last
it.
time I saw you, you were doing this in Ted.
I think the last time I saw him was in the Horizon: An American Saga - Chapter 1 or whatever the hell that one's
Oh,
called.
he was in that? I forgot.
He was also
Not really. He gets some good billing in it, but I guess he's in the second one. But yeah.
he's also Nicolas Cage's younger brother in Gone in 60 Seconds.
Yeah.
Oh,
That was
yeah.
in the 90s, sir.
I haven't thought about that movie forever. So it's been a while for you, Charles.
But like, yeah, it's a movie that I kind of am rooting for, because horror kids are going to go see Stream, and some of them are even going to go see Crow too. Where I don't know, the three things that you've suggested to me this year, Cody, have all been knockouts. Very rarely does somebody recommend me movies and are 100%.
Life lesson is I'm always right.
I wasn't saying that so much.
What were the other two?
Coffee Table? No, that wasn't. That was you. Coffee Table.
I was going to say, I don't think he recommended that. From what I've heard, not a fan.
The dude from Terminator 3 with the
What You Wish For?
What You Wish For, which that isn't very cinematic though, so I can understand why that wouldn't get a theatrical run. What is the other one? There's a third one that came this year, and I fucking forgot.
Oh, I don't know.
Well,
Arrow.
I
Yes.
expect The Crow, getting back to that, I expect that to have a very similar response that the RoboCop and Total Recall remake got, where it's not really going to kill at the box office.
Right.
Those that are diehard fans are going to say it's horrible. A lot of people in the middle are going to go, it was fine. and very few people are going to freak out about it.
Yeah.
Manny in the chat has said that Blink Twice also comes out this week. Does that one come out this week?
God damn, yes it does.
Oh my god!
Damn.
How was the weekends where I have shit to do where they're like, here's 4 new releases? Fuck you.
Because that one interests me, but I don't know. I don't have high hopes for it, but it looks
Who's the
intriguing.
director
from
of
the
that
trailer.
one? It's someone. It's
Zoe
Zendaya.
Kravitz.
Or is it Zoe Kravitz?
Is it Zoe? Wow.
Yeah. Okay.
Listen, they're not going to do well at the theaters anyway because people are going to be going to Phoenix this weekend.
Yeah.
They're going to see Cody Leach.
Hey!
Traffic is fucked. What is happening today?
The entire world's going to Phoenix. I'm not familiar with Blink Twice. I'll be honest.
It looks like some kind of trippy, like it almost looks like a Jordan Peele type movie.
Yeah,
with Channing Tatum in it and a couple other people. But
wait,
What's
he
her
plays
name
like a rich
from,
dude, right?
Yeah, kind of looks like White Lotus meets like like the Jordan Peele one. So I don't know. It has an interesting look to it.
I also like that it's got the girl from Arrested Development in it. I like her a lot, and she doesn't work very often.
Yeah, she
sure.
was in the roller skating movie too, right? Whip It.
I think so.
Yeah.
And Green Room. You guys remember Green Room?
Oh yes.
Green Room is awesome, man. I came to that one late, but I love that one.
Yeah,
Patrick Stewart's terrifying.
It's stuff like all of that.
As
Those
usual.
are things that just don't get buzz, and they're great movies. And they maybe, if they're lucky, make $10 million. And Green Room, I think, if I could recommend it to somebody, if it had the Coraline treatment this week, I would say Green Room above all else. You're going to have Crow in a week. You're going to have Alien in a week. But if it's only getting a limited release, I don't know. For as much discourse as there is on the internet for movies, it's not really about stuff that is really great. It's just big shit, and we're going to complain about it.
Interesting.
I need fans back. Fans, can we have fun, please?
Well, like the cliche these days is like nobody hates something like something you're a fan of, or no one hates something like someone that's a fan of it. Like no one hates Star Wars as much as Star Wars fans. No one hates what's happening with Star Trek these days.
What is your investment to this thing that you do not care for?
Yeah.
People hate fuck things on the internet, and that's an issue.
There's something to be said about coming to a point where if they've gone long enough, not giving you anything you enjoy, just tapping out.
Yeah.
I don't understand the concept of hate watching. And there's some people that have hate watched since The Last Jedi. And I'm like, that sounds like an exhausting fucking experience.
Yeah.
It does.
Well, there probably is a financial influence in some cases.
Oh, of course.
But not all.
Then that needs to be factored in by those that view it that hopefully have some form of common sense. Like I say all the time, it's like, you really think they hate Brie Larson that much? I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. Beetlejuice is 2 weeks from now. Sorry.
I'm excited for that, though, honestly.
I don't know. I'm trying to be excited for that, but I don't know. I don't have confidence in it.
I just love Keaton. It's like that's like really
That's 2 weeks. That's next
everyone
week.
involved.
That's 2 weeks. That's 2 weeks.
Okay, we'll talk about it later. Sorry.
Do you think
that energy next time Brian goes off on something? It's number 2, Brian. We're on number 12. Let's think Dumb and Dumber. We'll get to Dumb and Dumber. I love you, Brian.
We're talking about Billy Madison, you dick.
Yeah. Sorry for everybody that's on the outside of that inside joke.
No, you're good.
No, it was. I got a complaint that I was too quiet. I'm like, what the fuck? The weekend is Alien Romulus, The Crow, Stream, Blink Twice, and Strange Darling. Who comes in first? Who comes in second?
Alien comes in first.
Gee, confident with that?
Between that, The Crow, Strange Darling, and Stream?
Oh, the question, will any of those be 21 million? I don't see The Crow doing 21 million.
I don't see The Crow killing it, and that's the only movie that you just listed that I think has a chance to usurp it. I don't think Strange Darling has a snowball's chance. I don't think that Stream is going to be kind of a niche slasher. That's going to be, if it's awesome, it might have legs, but it's going to be one of those like
Slow open.
Yes. It's going to be one that if it really has legs, then you'll see money, but it's not going to kill it the first week. I mean, I haven't seen a trailer for it in theaters. The only people that know about it are people that love Terrifier.
Oh.
Yeah,
There's a few of those.
The buzz behind Maxine was huge. It made $6 million on 4th of July. So the horror crowd is so weird to figure out.
Yeah.
Maybe was the wait for vaccine too long? Could that have been it? Like if vaccine came out? Sorry, but well, I'll ask my question in a second. Do chat, and then we'll come back. Thank you, Tony.
Thank you. I saw Rambo: First Blood extended cut and very good movie, but I find it perpetuate that so many critics that were so outraged that it just because they thought it was a Trumpy Mexican nightmare, even though he's killing cartel men's. Help?
Yeah.
I can't read and talk at the same time. I'm sorry.
Did you happen to see the last Rambo one? He does kind of go after some cartel people.
John
I know
Rambo?
there were some people. Yeah. I know there were some people that kind of did the criticism that essentially this is like a Trumpish type of story, if you will. I don't know. I think that's reading into a bit much, but fair enough.
It got the same treatment that Eli Roth's Death Wish did. You know, it's a movie where a white guy is killing gang members, and they're like, "Oh, this is political. It's just feeding into that right wing." And it's like, or it's a fucking movie about a white dude getting revenge on people. But
and it's like a follow up. Like with Rambo, it's at least not a new one. Like the Roth one, I guess they're rebooting it, so now it's a white dude going after a cartel. I don't know where it feels like Rambo's a little bit different, but I do remember getting that same criticism. That just. I feel like you could be. It's one way to read into the movie, but I don't know that the creators had that intention. It seems like you're placing that on it.
Introducing politics into something that doesn't have politics is such a big thing right now. And when there's not like that big an overarching theme of politics, it's frustrating because I watched something from forever ago. Boyle and Sarandon are in a movie from 1970 called Joe. And holy shit, if that was released today, it's old. It's like 55 years old. Peter Boyle and a young Susan Sarandon. And if it were released today, save for the very strong language, I worry about what people would think about it because it's very geared and just think of Falling Down, except he says the N-word a lot.
I remember that one. Oh, wow. I need to
says the N-word a lot, and his light bulb went.
I have. Well,
I remember that.
Don't get me wrong. It's one extra tally on the scale, so to speak. But just I saw the picture of Peter Boyle, and it's like I do remember Peter Boyle just holding a shotgun. Like, yes, I need to revisit this one.
It's powerful. It does apply today, but it's very strong with the language and things. But see, that's a political movie from 55 years ago that still applies. But I don't think things like Death Wish and I mean Civil War, he kind of curbed everything because of the politics, and people are pissed off that there wasn't politics, and it's just like.
Well, it said he pissed off both sides of it. They both put their own politics on it. And I don't know. It's interesting, but it made for a challenging film. That's kind of fun.
A good rule of thumb is if you follow or if you find critics that are turning their movie reviews into political statements where it's not merited, maybe don't listen to those critics. Because I've seen that with a lot of movies. Like I remember that when The Accountant came out, there was anti-gun stuff, and it's like, what the fuck? Like it's one thing if the movie is discussing that. It's another thing if it's just like you're anti-gun and you're watching a movie where a dude uses guns and you just want to talk about the fact that you're anti-gun. It's like, well, then do that. Can you review the movie when you're not wanting to do that? And so, Rambo: Last Blood is a movie that kind of got that treatment. Solid movie, not necessarily the best ending to the Rambo franchise. I think it functions better as a Stallone action revenge thriller than it does a Rambo sequel, but it's solid.
100%.
Is it a better ending than the Rambo movie that thanked who did they thank in the credits?
The Taliban.
That's right.
The brave warriors of the Taliban or something like that. Whoops.
Forgot about that.
Yeah. Lucas said the ending to Joe from the 1970 knocked my dick in the dirt. Yeah.
Oh my god.
As the movie was going on, I'm like, oh, it'd be neat if somebody remade this. And I thought the twist ending that I thought would be the modern way to do the ending, but that movie did that ending. So I was like, all right, well, no need for a remake. No notes. Yeah, it's if you can handle some rough language, it is very, very present with a lot of the situation in that movie. It's a 55-year-old movie that feels like if you just take away like pot and hippies, it's very present. Like it's a movie that came out during Vietnam and how Americans were kind of at each other's throats, and
Fuck.
you just replace one thing with something from today. It really still does fit.
Also, it's crazy that 55 years ago is 1970. That's
Dude, Susan Sarandon was in her 20s in that movie, and she looks fantastic. That's a 55-year-old movie with a mid-20s Susan Sarandon. Feel old yet? Because I think a grandma lady is rather attractive. Rather attractive.
Gilf, Gilf, Gilf.
She looks great now. I got a picture with her earlier this year.
Woo! Oh, hell
Yeah,
yeah.
right on.
Okay.
Yeah.
The last thing I saw her in, she didn't look bad. I think she was just in, what was it, Blue Beetle or whatever?
Yeah.
She looked all right.
She was in Blue Beetle. I completely missed that one. That was the year I didn't see any superhero movies. Aquaman, Blue Beetle, Marvels.
It's a good year to take a break.
Yeah.
What was she plugging, Cody? Or
Oh,
was
her
it
and Gina
just-
Davis were there taking pictures for Thelma and Louise.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's
That
cool.
would be
wow.
kind of awesome.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Did they have
how
a
much?
convertible? Oh,
No, they had a flower pot. I was like, can you put like a bottle of fucking Jack Daniels or something? Something a little more fitting.
'cause I would pay extra
they
if I got to
should.
just like sit in the back seat of that convertible. Like, that'd
Yeah.
be great.
Let's all hold hands.
Yeah, I should have thought before I spoke, Dice. I have great news about a majority of the internet who simp after actors, actresses who are at least double their age. Yeah, I don't think before I speak oddly enough as much as I stammer. Yeah, I should have done that. So, Lindsay, you were before we got so graciously dumped with money on our heads. What was you were going to say something about long legs? I think
No, it wasn't about
Okay.
long legs. Was that what?
was it about Maxine? It was somewhere in that.
Oh
neighborhood.
yes. So if Maxine came out closer
Oh, right.
or within the same year as Pearl and X, do we think it would have performed better?
I mean,
Necessarily.
obviously the
Same.
timing wasn't right, but I don't know. Like, it's really hard to judge the timing. Sorry, I think, Cody, you were about to speak. You probably know way more about this than me.
I would say not necessarily for two reasons. I think at that point you might be susceptible to burnout. I mean, 3 movies in one franchise within a calendar year, and then also the response to Pearl, I don't think was quite as good as it was with X. Maybe I'm mistaken. Maybe I'm biased because I like X a little more than Pearl, but it was a small downward trajectory, but downward trajectory nonetheless. I don't know. I don't
To be
know
fair-
if Maxine really had like a placement issue. I just think a lot of the early reviews saying like, prepare to be a little disappointed, I think kind of gave everybody pause.
I mean, I also admit it would have been an extreme ask for them to squeeze Maxine out the same year as Pearl and X. That would
How wild would that have been?
I mean,
it came out
it,
4th of July weekend. It's not like, it might be the antithesis of what you're thinking. Put Maxine out in February and just let it mop
Yeah.
up.
that could be interesting.
It
Did
might
it
have.
make more or less than Pearl and X? Or was it comparable?
That's a good question. Let's see what I can find out here.
No, we're both looking.
Oh, yeah.
All 3 of us are looking. Fuck you. Who's fastest? Box office 15 million for X.
Oof.
Man, that movie had so much buzz too.
It's definitely the one that I heard the most about.
Well, did you hear about the movie or did you hear about the Shadow?
It was
10
mainly The Shadow.
10 million for Pearl.
Oh wow, okay.
Granted,
And then
these
6 million for
are
Maxine.
Wikipedia numbers. I don't know if you guys know how much. And 20 million for Maxine, so it made more than the
I was
other
gonna
two.
say, I think.
Oh, it
Maxine
did.
more than that.
Oh wow.
Nice.
Cool.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's got to be I mean, the fact that they even funded Maxine says something about just how much money they made on both X and Pearl. So I'm sure they're happy with it. But again, it's that relativity thing where it didn't make $1 billion. Yeah, but it's not supposed to. It's not supposed to make 100 million. Stop grading things like it's the Avengers, please. It's just so hard to, especially with horror.
Yeah.
Like I remember it came out, It Part 1, and then Halloween 2018. Both did rather well in their opening weekends,
They
and
did pretty good.
the horror community is like, "Oh my god, we're a big deal now." It's like,
very isolated examples.
with lightning struck twice in 2 years. That's all.
Who was the director for It Part 2? I totally forgot. It wasn't Fede. It was
Shit, what's his name?
Yeah, I'm blanking, but
Wasn't Flanagan? No, that was Doctor Sleep.
Yes, almost, but yeah, not quite. Okay, just see if I can Google it.
Andy Muschietti.
Thank you. Oh, that's
you beat me
it.
to it.
Yeah. Also, thank you, Ben Grimm, in the chat. Appreciate you, buddy.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow, they beat us to it.
Always a fan of the thing.
So we have,
AMD. I didn't even notice that, Ben.
we have 20 minutes before our overlord shuts us down. Is there anything you wanted to talk about to ride the week out?
We could all sing.
You can just leave now too.
Let's all sing Inagata Davida together. It's 16 minutes long. It's basically 20 minutes. Like...
You've reached your hokey joke limit for the week. I'm sorry. I'm going to get like a bing and a warning so that you can't talk.
And
we'll get the comedy club. Okay, so what's that movie that I think it's coming out soon? It's a horror movie. It stars Professor X, the young one, James McAvoy.
Oh, Speak No Evil, you're thinking.
Yeah. I hate that trailer. I swear, every movie I go to, I see that trailer, and it's like I saw the entire movie. I hate it.
Have you seen the original? It's a remake.
Oh, is it?
And the original has English in it. So, and it's kind of
has English in it.
All I have to say is different language, and half the crowd is just like, never mind. Sure. But it's English-speaking Europeans.
Is it good? Like, who's in it?
I don't think anybody that you would recognize. Okay, but it's gnarly. It like deals with fucked up social situations, and I don't know how they're going to Americanize it, but it feels to me a lot like Good Night Mommy, which the original was way stronger, and the remake was just with what's his face, Homelander's kid from The Boys, except there were two of them. The American version.
There are two of them, apparently.
Yeah. No, I've seen them. But yeah, Speak No Evil is a really thrilling, fucked up movie.
Cool. Okay.
But
the original.
Right. Well, I mean, it's pretty fast that they're releasing this. What is his name?
McAvoy?
Yeah, is it McAvoy? Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It doesn't seem like you can fuck that up too much, but
he's the only reason I'm interested in it. But I've seen some early reviews that said they expected this to be, sanitized and derivative, and they were kind of surprised at how many different turns it took. So I that piqued my interest a little more.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But I also echo Lindsay's sentiments, where every single time I see a movie, I'm like, fucking hell. It's always like one or two movies a year where you're like, can you just release this bitch so I can stop seeing the trailer?
Gray, are you familiar with the Speak No Evil?
I am not, sadly. I just put it on a list. I need to see that. Definitely want to see the original before the McAvoy, but
that is
I feel like somehow I have a blind spot to it.
Yeah, I can.
Oh, nice.
You together with my uncle, we can figure that out.
He's a magnanimous fella.
He is. Aww. He's quite a good person. Cody, you haven't. You said you haven't seen it, right? It's
the new one. No.
Yeah. Is it at which festival you at soon?
Fantastic Fest. I think it comes out before. Let me check. They didn't announce it, but it could also be one of the secret screenings. which usually has at least one mainstream movie in it.
Nice.
Oh, well, while he's looking that up, my local AMC has done this a couple times. I haven't had the courage to do it yet, but it's like a surprise screening. Like, you don't know what movie it's going to be. It's not like a super like early movie that's not out yet, but they advertise it as like an older movie or something, but you don't know what it's going to be.
Mhm.
I'm kind of down.
Awesome.
It seems kind of fun. Also might be absolutely horrible, but I don't know.
I can tell you just from the festival experience, it is equal. Like there's nothing in the middle. You're either like fuck yeah, or you're like, what is this? September 13th is when it comes out, so it'll be out 2 weeks or a week and a half before I'm even in Austin.
Less than a month already.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Yeah, like the first year I went to Fantastic Fest, the first secret screening was that Werewolf by Night Disney Plus little special, which pissed everybody off because the festival crowd like literally goes to festivals to get away from that kind of shit.
Yeah.
And then the other one was the Hellraiser Hulu movie, which we were the only people to be able to see it on a big screen, so that was kind of cool.
That is cool.
And then last year
really
they did 4 of them for the first time ever, and it was Saltburn, Dream Scenario, Dogman, and then they ended with Saw X.
Okay. At least 2 of those I wanted to see on big screen.
I didn't know what the fuck the first 3 were, but then I got locked out of the first 2, and then I sat down for Dogman, and like you walk in, you don't know what it's going to be, and they always kind of introduce it in some like little reveal way. And everybody was joking the entire week about like how funny would it be if they like were assholes and they put like the Paw Patrol movie up because that was just now coming out the same weekend as Saw X. And so the woman who's the director comes out and she's like, yeah, you know, I got this movie here. I'm really excited for us to have it. And I was trying to think of how I could introduce it. So I was thinking it might be a little cute if I brought out like a bunch of dogs. And we were like, yeah, we've been joking about this all week. She's like, yeah. So anyway, we got Luc Besson's new film Dogman, and we were all like,
oh.
Wait a minute. Like, it's supposed to be Exorcist. Yeah, no. Then we saw Exorcist. I'm like, never mind. Dogman's cool.
All right, Paw Patrol.
Yeah.
Get Luke back out here, please. All right, so we're kind of spinning wheels here. If anybody in the chat has something while we graciously have Cody still, be something we'll touch on before we go. Or not.
No pressure, chat.
Yeah, there's a delay, so they got to watch in 10 seconds.
Oh, God. I can't handle the weight.
Do you like I did us last night, where I'm like, all right, guys, I appreciate it. No more super chats. Okay, one last one. Brian, name your favorite Batman stories and why. I'm
why?
Like,
Show your work.
$5 why question.
Canceled. I'm sorry.
We'd still be going right now.
The adorable thing about Brian too is he even started it, and he's like, "Yeah, look, I don't know. These guys probably don't want to hear me talk about Batman comic stories. But anyway, let me go ahead and list my top 5." So he went on for a good 3 minutes anyway.
This question is probably true.
Yeah, that's been in the back of my head.
Because he was there with you guys, wasn't he?
The first year he was.
Yeah.
He wasn't there last year. But yeah, if I see him there, I'm going to pretty much take it as a guarantee. Like, oh, okay, I think I know what we're walking into tomorrow, Chris.
Yeah. So Shelby Oaks is the Stuckman movie, for those who are unaware.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Cody was at the very same festival that Stuckman was 2 years ago. So the intriguing thing is, what if they show it and Stuckman will probably be there? Does anything change about how you handle that situation?
In regard,
other than let's just say it's good and, yawn, thumbs up, hey, everything's great. What if it's just mid or not good? How are you handling that?
Review it the exact same way I would anyway, and hope he doesn't come up and ask me.
Okay.
And if he does, be honest. I mean, if he gets mad about it, I can at least be like, I was honest to Chris, and he was kind of a dick. But I don't think he would. No. But no, I mean, it wouldn't change my perspective on it. I mean, there's always something cool about the festival vibe, like when you see Terrifier 2 at midnight and Damien Leone's right there and Art the Clown's right there, and you got a bunch of rowdy fans that are there at midnight to see Terrifier 2. It makes it a little bit cooler of an experience if you like it. But if I hated the movie, it wouldn't be like, this movie's shit, but I had a good time, so 4 stars. it's not going to be that way. So, yeah.
That's good.
No worries.
Lindsay?
I'm not gonna I'm not gonna sell out and be like, I'm friends with
keep it
Stuckman.
real.
5 out of 5. It's awesome.
I mean, I'm fascinated to see what this could be. I've wanted to.
Me too.
Good, bad, or somewhere in the middle. It would be nice if I feel like all the YouTubers that end up making movies, like seriously, like I know Red Letter Meteor made their movie, but that was like a joke movie. Was the Space Cop even
Space
real?
Cop. Yeah, I didn't like it.
I turned it off a few minutes in. So it would be nice if like a cool YouTuber made a movie and it was good, because I feel like it's usually kind of the crappier YouTubers that end up trying to make movies, and
I do feel bad for Stuckman because with his Madam Web stance, I think with that and how
People are going to revenge review it.
That side of YouTube has certainly been up his ass. I don't think he stands a chance to unless he makes this like 5-star movie. They're going in there wanting to hate it, and they're going to find plenty of things to talk about. I mean, if they're talking about alien Romulus like it's Satan's asshole, like
it might not be on par with that.
Oh, is this a horror movie? Dice in the chat. So it's a
Yeah.
horror movie he made? Oh,
I believe so.
It's a found footage movie about like a abandoned asylum or something like that. I might be fucking that up, but
Dice says those who cover horror movies actually making horror movies is very intriguing. Sometimes, not so much. I don't know what you're referring.
You get the talk to me guys that give us all hope. They're like, maybe we can strive to that.
And dead silence too. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't see this. Tony Chaffee, D9, Neil Blomkamp fan, $2. Thank you. Thoughts on the current state of Star Wars?
Don't care.
You're not dying to see that next one, the Jude Law very special skeleton crew that's been on the shelf for 2 years?
Has it been on the shelf for 2 years?
I can't remember if it's 2 years, but they did the filming a while ago.
I love the original trilogy just as much as anybody else. I thought I was a Star Wars fan until I started talking about movies on the internet, and I was like, oh, I don't know. I might be a casual fan on my best day, but don't like the prequel trilogy. I get some enjoyment out of the third movie, but it's not one I ever revisit. Loved The Force Awakens. Didn't like anything else out of that trilogy, and have not liked, aside from the first season of Mandalorian, have not liked a single thing at all that I've watched out of Disney Plus. So I'm just kind of at a point where I'm just done. I'm burnt out on it. It's, Star Wars used to be this thing that when it came around, it was like this event. It was like, holy shit, Star Wars is back. Now it's
people
like
camping outside of theaters. Like, I can't think of any other movie that happened other than that franchise.
I still have the image in my mind of walking into a theater and having to literally like go in a snake queue like at a fucking theme park to watch the Phantom Menace. And so, it used to be this big deal, and now it just kind of feels like Disney has turned it into this product that just doesn't go away. I'm also just turned off. Not that I even really dislike some of the things that they're doing, and a lot of it I haven't even watched, so I can't comment on it. But I really don't like the attitude that it seems to have at Disney, or maybe just from Kathleen Kennedy, where it's like, yeah, I know the fans don't like this, but fuck you, we're doing it anyway.
Yeah.
And you can only do that so much before the fans are just like, okay, fuck your movie, fuck your show, then we're not watching. And so they kind of ask for a lot of the attitude that they get, and they ask for a lot of the toxicity that they get. Not saying it's right or it's justified, but
they do tend to bat the hornet's nest.
Exactly. I was gonna say you can only hit the hornet's nest so many times before I don't really feel sorry for you getting stung. And I mean, even to the point where the only movie that we know might happen is a Rey movie, and it's like, who the fuck asked for that? You know what I mean? It might be good,
right?
But that's a weird lesson to walk away from with how everybody perceived the sequel trilogy. I just don't care. It's a franchise that's burnt me out, and for as much as I don't enjoy even watching it nowadays, there's no enjoyment to be had in discussing it, because you have one angry side that's like, this is all new, and I love all the social commentary, and I love the diversity and the representation, and you guys are all bigots if you hate it. And then you have the other side that's like, this shit's all woke and I hate it, and everybody in the middle is like, it's really just fine. There's nothing that great or that bad about it. Doesn't sound like a fun conversation to have. No. So I'm just kind of sipping tea off to the side going, whatever. Call me if they do another movie that I give a fuck about, but my phone's on silent.
No, I think Star Wars needs like a good shot. It needs to go away for a bit.
Break.
No series, no movies. maybe like another like season of like the anime Star Wars thing, because that was weird and out there and different, but like nothing for like 5 years, and then come back with something that's like completely new. But they'll never do that, so it doesn't matter. Andor was pretty cool. I should finish Andor. I liked Andor a lot. I never finished it, but
really good, really worth seeing. And season 2 of that's going to come out eventually.
yeah, I'll finish season 1 and then I'll check out season 2.
Something I watched recently that it's not really new news, but Ted season 1 on
I heard that was pretty good.
Peacock, I really enjoyed it, and the fact that it's getting a second season, I'm kind of fired up. I'm not going to say
I'll check it out, man.
I'm not going to say comedy's back, but there's hope.
Okay.
It's for those who wanted Ted 3. This is the next best thing, and you get 7 episodes of it. So, and a second season. So, apparently, it was the highest watched thing on Peacock a month after it was released, which is
high ceiling.
Yeah. Yeah. Between the 7 things I had to watch,
between Twisted Metal and Chucky, this kicked ass.
Yeah. Well,
did you guys ever watch the show 30 Rock? By the way, that always used to
love it.
Yeah, it's great, classic. But they always used to make fun of like ABC with like We Peacock and stuff like that, and then they go and make their streaming service called fucking Peacock. It's like a joke from a show from 14 years ago.
Yes, Bob. Comedy is visiting for a while. There might want to stick around, but you know, it's got somewhere to be. All right, so thanks everyone. Thanks for the super chats. We're going to wind it down. Next week we'll talk about whatever the deal is this weekend. Go watch Strange Darlings, please. Gray, what do you got coming up?
Nothing. Supposedly I'm a YouTuber, so things eventually. But until then, if you just can't get enough, every Thursday, come on over to That Darn Kidda's channel for the Thinkers. We got people from like 3 different continents who disagree about everything in a somewhat amicable way. So, come over, learn about the world's events. I can't remember what the theme is, but we'd love to see you over on YouTube at That Darn Kidda.
Right on. What about Linzo?
I've been cranking out the shorts lately, having a lot of fun with that, trying to push myself to do more stuff. I'm probably going to do something about the Acolyte now that it's officially called that. It's no longer going to be a thing, whether that'll be a full video or short. I don't know. We'll see. I'm riding a wave of creativity right now. Let's see how much longer I can keep it going.
Did you say a full video or a short? I don't know if I'm going to do 15 minutes or 30 seconds. I just haven't figured it out.
Either way.
First of all, it'd be 59 seconds. Sir, check yourself. Actually, maybe now, just to be spiteful, I'll do 2 59-second videos. What do you got to say to that?
I stand corrected. Cody.
So we got Stream and the Crow coming out this weekend, as well as Strange Darling. So I'm definitely going to have a review for Strange Darling because I've already seen it a year ago and a week ago. So probably tomorrow that'll drop. Stream and the Crow, it just depends if I have a chance to watch it before I get on a plane, because Friday I'm leaving to the massive event over at Phoenix. So those are likely at some point. And then I'm also doing a Alien versus Predator tier list ranking, where I'm going to have all the Alien movies now with Romulus and all the Predator movies now with Prey, and rank all of them within the same tier list, similar to how I did Insidious and Conjuring last year.
Are you trying to sell cereal? Now with more Romulus.
Yeah.
Sorry. I didn't mean to step on you. Please finish.
That was it.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining us, Cody. We appreciate you slumming it with us. A lot of stuff all over here. If you wanted to see Alien Romulus spoilers, we have that a couple days ago, and really busy week. Last week we talked about 2024 up until now. We had the long-awaited comedy debrief on Cody's channel. So there's a lot of stuff to catch up with.
4.5 hours.
Yeah, and I was too
It was
quiet.
months in the making.
I was too quiet, and Brian got asked about his comic book taste. So you're in for a ride. So we'll see you next week, guys. And bye. I don't have a thing this time. Bye. Somebody say goodbye.
Click to find out about politics and The Hangover.
Ooh!